Thank you. Ventilation issues have long been a problem in this school, and it's taken a pandemic to finally have them addressed. We're so grateful to have a strong union behind us because the concern is the safety of our staff and our students. So we're really grateful.
Okay, Allison, we're gonna start with questions.
And I know that you also did your own ventilations as well, ventilation checks as well as the city. Did they match up? Were there any discrepancies?
Yeah, the team, the crews have been sharing all their information and going back and forth into buildings where there might have been differences, and it really depended on the day. We had found out where there were differences. It was because certain settings were different inside of the building in terms of the dampers. We now know and the amount of windows that were open. So we're in good shape in terms of all that information is being shared constantly and transparently. We wouldn't be here today because this was a conversation we've been having. There's been a lot of work going on for weeks now since we started the ventilation assessment of the school system, and a lot of schools who are not doing well are fine now. And now we are at a place where we know we have these issues, and we're just saying we have to be an abundance of caution. We're safe at all times.
Are you happy with the toilet paper test?
I'm going to leave that alone for today. I'm not talking about toilet paper today.
We heard from a lot of teachers who are frankly furious that they didn't see the building level reports until the middle of the night on Labor Day, heading into their first day of school. They're angry that they weren't able to be assured about their safety until the very last minute before they're heading in. And frankly, they don't really believe that just having open windows is enough to keep them safe. What would you say to
I understand the anxiety and the fear that so many people are facing, especially after what happened in March. But I can also tell them all that there is not just one entity making decisions anymore. Everyone is looking at all of the information together and then making the correct decisions. The decisions are based on science and doctors, not elected officials, not bureaucrats. Everything is being decided by the science and by the medical professionals. And I understand why people are anxious. We're hoping that over the next couple of days, the first couple of days in school is all about safety. It's all about training, PPE, what needs to happen inside of the school itself, putting all of those things in place before we even get to the instructional plan. So I would say I understand, and we have, right now in New York City, we have a hotline set up. The union has a hotline set up for every school, and they have access to it, and we have dozens of operators monitoring it at this moment, so we'll stay on top of everything.
Michael, what happens if the schools are not ventilated on the 21st, and have you identified other areas where students can go if these schools don't reopen?
We're definitely looking at a lot of alternative space. We're assuming that there will be issues at different times, but there's the whole idea here is to make sure that there's a complete commitment to, if a school has to go into remote for a couple of days while we set up an alternative space, that we have that ability to do it and that flexibility. This is not going to be easy, folks. Okay? This is a major challenge. You have almost 1,500 school buildings. This is the first time we've ever actually had a real ventilation standard, and it's a shame it took a pandemic to do it, but we're happy we now have that. But parents, teachers, educators, until we have a vaccine, flexibility and patience, which is really hard because of everything we've been through, but flexibility and patience, and just know that when decisions are being made, they're being made for the right reason. Yep. I didn't hear you at the beginning. I think we've made sure there's a lot of time cut out of on the first 9 days for teachers to get into their classroom. But as your mom probably told you, you decorate your classroom constantly, so you're always moving it and changing it. But it's the one thing we have to focus on first are those individual school safety plans. We've given the schools everything you need to work out for your building. It's New York City. All of our buildings are different. So we could say that you have to have all your signage up, but what does that mean for school A versus school B? It's a completely different thing, and so we are here to help support the schools, get each and every building in shape and ready to go. And we're a little bit under the gun because we have till the 21st to make sure it's safe for all the children to come in. But we can absolutely say this morning that the schools that were not deemed safe are not opening. And we're here is this is the evidence. Go ahead. 1, 2.
What was the standard for deciding to shut down a whole building? Was it like a certain percentage of classrooms that weren't
Yeah.
properly ventilated, or what was the decision?
Yeah, basically, once you start getting somewhere around 50% of classrooms don't have proper ventilation, you're going to deem the building not ready to open at that point. And that was basically the standards we were using at. And I'm not talking about the toilet paper again, but yes. No, I've been saying for weeks we have a major staffing problem. The New York City is redeploying right now. They're in the process of redeploying basically anyone who's not deemed essential in terms of operations, that they are redeploying every single person with a teaching certificate into classroom instruction. And that could be remote or in person. And then it's, as we know, we're going to have to hire substitutes, but it's a real challenge that we're facing right now. That's why as we push now, you see a renewed energy of a push at the federal government, because what the federal government did was completely fail us. All right, and that's why we said we needed the federal stimulus on education, because we're short people, as well as we're going to burn through so much more of our funding because of the amount of cleaning and everything else going on inside of the building. So there's been a renewed energy just this past couple of days, and you've seen it now as Labor Day's over, everyone's focusing on the fact that state and local budgets and school systems have been decimated. So we have a major issue here, and we're trying to get it addressed. In terms of the gap, we're trying to be creative with our remote online learning, but we always prefer a real teacher, an in-person teacher, to be talking to each and every student every day, and that's really the challenge we're up against, but we'll give you more on that as we get closer to the 21st.
What about the nursing issue? Are all the nurses hired?
I won't know until about an hour from now, but if there's not a nurse, they're not open. So it looked like on Thursday afternoon and Friday afternoon they were on target, but I did not receive official confirmation yet, but they were on target.
I didn't hear your answers ever. Did you say how many teachers you still need? Did you say a number?
Well, right now we first have to redeploy everyone, and then we'll have a number. We'll keep you updated on that closer we get to the 21st.
Rough number?
Thousands.
I don't know if you saw the news about last night, rundown of how many classrooms are ready to go, but it noted that less than half of the bathrooms are okay under the ventilation. Are you concerned about these kinds of?
Yes, I'm concerned about it, and we're addressing it later today at a meeting because it's a problem. I don't know who built bathrooms without ventilation. I'm not. Any other questions?
Can we hear a little bit more from
Melissa, come on.
With this school being closed now, how does that change your plans, and how are those frustrations surfacing now that we found this out yesterday? We supposed to come back today?
Well, teachers, we are always on top of everything, and we've been planning all summer. Our goal has been to make remote learning as great as it possibly can be, and we roll with the punches. That's what teachers are used to doing. So I'm ready, and I know my colleagues are too. We'll do our best.
Plan to not be here?
I'm sorry?
Since you can't go in the building, what is your plan going to be now? What does it look like for you?
Well, now we're going to be fully remote until we hear, and we're already in communication with our students, and we have our lessons to go, and we're going to be, for the next 9 days, we're going to be planning, we're having a lot of meetings, a lot of PDs, and just feeding off of each other and getting ideas. So, this is not a perfect situation, as everybody knows, but we're going to do our best.
Melissa, can you talk a little bit about the ventilation concerns that you raised earlier and don't see open here? What is the issue? Why is the ventilation?
Well, the ventilation, like I said, ventilation issues have been, and not just in this school, but we know in many public schools, we don't have any fresh air getting in. We have windows and we're not allowed to open them. So for years we've been suffering, getting sick, getting the flu every year because this has been a consistent issue. And now with the pandemic, you know, it's even more worrisome.
So how much does this set you back in terms of preparing your classrooms for in-person instruction? Do you think that the school will be ready by the 21st?
You know, teachers are always ready. That's the one thing that I have to say. You know, we don't need a building to teach. Teaching has been ongoing. You know, a lot of people think, oh, you know, we're afraid we don't want to teach. No, we want to teach, and we're teaching. So wherever I am, my students are going to get the best of me, and I can say the same thing for all my colleagues in the system. So we're just going to roll with the punches. The concern is, if a building is unsafe for us, we don't want to be in the building. But that doesn't end teaching, and that doesn't end student interaction.
Yeah.
I've heard some principals ask about the possibility of using a charter school that's all remote to extend space, building shut down, or even longer successes until December. Is that something you guys are considering or looking for?
That would be a Department of Ed. That would be the Department of Education call, but right now I don't take anything off the table in terms of safety and space. I'm sure there would be all sorts of implications with it, but as I said, if everything we're doing is about safety, if whatever we need to do to keep children and staff safe inside of a building, that's what we're going to do. But that would be their call. We'd also have to see how many children are remote at this moment inside of those schools.